Hey, this is RJ May, and you're watching Mr. Mario 2011.
Hey, what is going on everyone? It is me, Mr. Mario, and today I'm going to be bringing you my first commentary back in my apartment. I am quite excited about this, but there's probably going to be a few other videos that come out while I was back in Illinois before this one comes out, so this will probably be getting a bit of a delay. But anyways, with that sloppy intro, I'm going to be sharing, my bit of advice on picking up a new TV. And the reason why I'm making this is because recently I was in the market for a new TV. I know several people are wanting to upgrade. They might be getting new things, especially college students when they're moving, anything like that. And I want to share my experiences a little bit. Now, I do not consider myself a professional in this field at all. However, I feel like my advice can help out, at least the average person who doesn't know too much about picking out a TV. They're pretty unsure on what they want to get, or they kind of know what they're doing and they kind of just want, a second opinion, anything like that. Now, a lot of people do think I know a ton about this topic, and I really don't. It's more, I crash course myself, I see what's going on, and I think I was able to get a pretty solid TV. I ended up just getting a Vizio TV, and I do enjoy it. It has a lot of bells and whistles that I really like, that I've really been wanting on a new TV. But we're going to go ahead and get into this topic. Okay, you know what? I lied. Before I say that, if anybody is going to complain about any topics on the commentary, you know what? I will say this. Instead of complaining, bring up some positive criticisms. What I'm trying to say is bring up some helpful information that would help out other TV buyers down below in the comment section. And the reason why I'm saying this is because when it comes to anything like this, when it comes to TVs, when it comes to monitors, when it comes to PC components, anything like that, you are going to have people that will nitpick at every little thing. For example, if you go out, I guarantee if you go out and you buy the top of the line, best of the best video card available out right now, people are going to have something to say about it that's negative. So, keep that in mind, and at the end, if you're making a purchase, just make sure you're happy with it. And if you're not happy with it, at least you can return it. Now, anyways, getting on to the actual commentary itself. Now, if you're wanting to get a TV, what do you want to do? What do you need? Now, first off, I'm going to be catering to gamers on here. However, I'm going to bring in, TV show, movie watchers, things like that. If you are only going to be watching TV and movies on your television, you're really not going to need too much. First off, I would highly recommend, if you're going through cable, make sure you have HD channels available. But get a HD TV, of course, but what I'm saying by that is get a full HD TV. Get a 1080p TV, you'll be plenty happy with it. Just don't get anything, don't settle for 720p, especially if you're purchasing something new. If you're purchasing a used TV and you're doing this, you could actually probably get away with it, because not only are you going to save a lot of money, but most TVs, most of the bottom line TVs, the basic ones, they run at 60 Hertz. Now, the Hertz is the refresh rate for the TV, and TV shows and movies are normally best watched or recommended to watch at 60 Hertz, because anything above that, I have a 240 Hertz TV just for reference, but anything above 60 Hertz, you're going to start getting kind of a soap opera effect. And by that I mean it just looks like everyone is moving even more than they normally would on screen, and it doesn't look as, organic or natural as it normally would. Unless the creator of this TV show or movie or series or anything like that intended for that to be the case. Now, as I said, if you're just doing that, you can get away with getting a 60 Hertz TV just fine. Now, when it comes to gaming, first off, are you doing consoles? Are you doing PC? What are you doing? Now, if you're doing gaming, I would highly recommend making sure you get a TV that has game mode available on it. Most TVs do. However, if you don't get a TV with game mode and your TV comes with a high batch of latency or input delay, that is just, pretty much in short, you press a button on the controller, and instead of it being almost instant on your TV, it takes maybe half a second or a second to reflect that change on your TV, then you're going to be in trouble, especially if you are playing online, but if you're playing offline, it's still going to bug you a lot. Now, what does game mode do? Game mode essentially cuts out any background processes, or most background processes, that your TV has going on. Every TV has a visual processor is what I'm trying to say. Just keep it short and simple. What this processor does is it shows you, it is in charge of, you know, tuning and showing you, the picture that you are going to be seeing on your big screen in your living room or maybe even your bathroom. Now, if your TV is set to anything other than game mode, there is going to be latency on the TV. And by latency, I'm actually using the wrong term with that, It is going to have input delay. And I already explained what input delay is. However, if you're watching a movie or a TV show, input delay doesn't mean anything. That doesn't matter. If you're playing a game, you want the lowest amount of input delay needed. And if you have half a second of input delay, trust me, it's not pretty at all. It might not sound that bad, but trust me, that's about, what, 500 milliseconds? That's pretty bad. Or, yeah, I think that would be it. What I'm trying to say here is, what game mode does is it cuts out most of the extra processes that might be running to, you know, increase your brightness, your sharpness, your color, hue, anything like that. Now, when you turn on game mode, essentially you're cutting out, I'm saying it for the third time, most of those processes, and with that, because there are those processes that have ended in the background, your processor does not need to work with cleaning up your image as much or anything like that. All it really needs to focus on is outputting what is being inputted to your TV, meaning that you are going to have a much lower and much less noticeable input delay on your TV. If you want the short and sweet of it as well, if you listen to that big spiel there, essentially I'm saying, if you are not completely convinced, I'll put it like this. There are dedicated PC gamers who play their PCs on their TVs. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is as a big deal is because TVs have always been known, well, not always, I'm lying, excuse me, HD TVs, flat screen TVs, you know, panel TVs, anything like that. And the reason why I said I was lying is because, you know, tube TVs, tube monitors really didn't have any type of input delay. And if it did, it was extremely minuscule. But these TVs, you know, any type of flat screen TV you're going to pick out, it's going to have a delay of some kind. And TVs have been universally known for having more input delay as opposed to a monitor. Now, that is another thing. If you are gaming, you might want to consider picking up a monitor. I also have a nice 23-inch monitor. It's great, you know, for workplace, for, you know, your room, anything like that. It has speakers built into it. It also has output jacks and everything, so you can hook up extra speakers if you want to. But it's great. I really enjoy the thing. I would highly recommend it. Now, going back to the TVs, that's just an alternative there. But going back there, deciding what you want, if you are gaming, I would recommend minimum getting a 120 hertz TV. Now, it depends on what you all are doing and everything, because sometimes, you know, some systems or some TVs will lock, you know, the input-output display to 60 hertz. However, having that, it's weird how it works, because sometimes it will be available, sometimes it won't be. But what I'm trying to say is if you have a higher refresh rate, you're going to have less ghosting. So, for example, let's say you're playing Titanfall, a very fast game, you're spinning around everywhere. It's still going to look crisp, it's still going to look clean, it's still going to look clear if you have a high refresh rate. Now, you might have some people that argue and say 120 hertz, anything above 120 hertz, your eyes can't see. Well, even if that is true, having a 240 hertz TV, having anything higher than that, will help, you know, fight against ghosting or imaging or anything like that. So it really does make a difference, and I would recommend going with that. Now, you might also be looking at, should I get an LCD TV, an LED TV, maybe even a plasma TV? My advice to this is, I could sit here and give you benchmarks, you know, examples, anything like that, but I would say go to a store, go to a showroom store like Best Buy, maybe if you have a Sears in your area, Target. I wouldn't really advise going to Walmart because Walmart always somehow botches up the TV displays. Target is decent with it, but Best Buy normally does the best job. That's why I'm saying them, even though I do have my differences with them. What I'm saying is go there and look at the different TVs and see what really catches your eye and what you want to see. Now, probably the best TVs there are going to be the 4K TVs. And you might be thinking 4K is just another gimmick, just like 3D. And trust me, it isn't. Because if that was true, if it was a gimmick, 1080p would have been a gimmick. 720p would have been a gimmick. Now, it depends on what you're doing, and some people might be deciding, you know, maybe getting a 4K TV because they're expensive, but they're coming down in price, like noticeably coming down in price. Now, should you get a 4K TV? My answer, is almost really no at this point in 2014. The reason why, for my logic, is this. If you're playing on a PC, you can get an awesome 4K monitor for a fraction of the price. If you're playing on a console, no, 4K is not happening. And if it is, it's going to be upscaled and it's not going to make a difference. Just spend a fraction of that and get a super awesome 1080p TV. If you're watching TV shows or movies, first off, there's not really that many 4K, channels available, if there are any available, and there's not much media available. There is some stuff. I know Netflix, for example, it does have a few movies that are in 4K, but not that many. But if you do have the money to blow and the space, and you want to be preemptive with it, upgrading to a 4K TV, be my guest. But if you're asking me for advice, I would say no. I think you should wait a few more years and you'll be good. Until then, with anything else, you can just get a super awesome 1080p TV and you'll be good. Now, what about brands? What would I recommend? Now, I want to say there's two types of terms I'm talking about. There's going to be cheap and there's going to be affordable. Cheap is light on your wallet, but it's not good. Affordable is also light on your wallet, or, moderately good on your wallet, and it's pretty damn good. What I'm saying is, when it comes to affordable, you are getting a good deal and you are getting more bang for your buck. Now, Vizio is universally known, I want to say, for being affordable when it comes to that department. I know several friends that have Vizio TVs. I've never seen issues with them. Honestly, the only time I've really seen issues with Vizio TVs, is when I went to Walmart one night, and the Vizio TVs were the worst ones there, but that was also Walmart just being really janky with setting up all the TVs, universally with each other and displaying the same type of output. So I think it's also Walmart's fault with that. However, I do have a Vizio TV. I'll put the model down below, along with the monitor I was talking about, the 23-inch monitor I mentioned earlier, but it's a great TV. I like it. It was cheap for what it was. It's LED, 240 hertz. It's also a smart TV, even though I really don't use the smart features on it, but it's really nice to have all that available and all that extra stuff. And if you can, I would recommend, just so you have extra features available if you want to, if you feel the need to get a smart TV, go ahead and get it. I personally wanted one. I was able to grab one. It all worked out. Now, when it comes to actually researching your TV, first off, one source that I never thought would be good would be the manual. If you could find the manual for your TV online, you could actually find, what the millisecond delay is, anything like that. Second off, reviews are excellent. Professional reviews that you can find on trustable, reliable websites are always good. However, read multiple reviews because several people are biased. And third, this is also another thing, but look at user reviews on sites like Amazon or even Best Buy or any other site like that. Look at the good and the bad reviews. Look at the good reviews to see what people are raving about, and look at the bad reviews to see if there are any type of manufacturer defects or any type of recurring defects or issues that might be going on with that model. I actually found out with my TV, I have the 2014 model of my TV. Last year, there was a 2013 model of the TV, and a lot of people complained about that and were having issues. From what I've seen, the 2014 model is, near perfect, and it fixed up those issues. And I want to say I did read from, one user. I want to say that with my TV, the 2013 model had 3D, and they dropped it on this one in favor of, actually improving the TV and bringing something good to the table. But it is very nice for what it is. I really enjoy it. But when it comes to brands, some very good brands. Vizio, they're great. Sony, they look great. I haven't seen issues with them. Some people might be indifferent with them. Samsung also looks great as well. Now, one affordable brand I want to say, the TV that I actually just got rid of was an RCA, which I would have never picked out, but my parents got it as a Christmas present like 5 years ago, so I love them for it, but it just wasn't cutting it for me when it was coming to gaming. Now, RCA, they treated me well for what it was. It might not be everyone's favorite brand, but I'm just saying, I personally didn't have a bad experience. Although the TV was kind of odd, it had extremely basic, picture features on it. And for some reason, I couldn't program a universal remote to it. There were no codes available, nothing like that. It was the strangest thing, I swear. Like, you could look it up. No, you need to get the original remote if you lose the original remote. It's pretty bad. But when it comes to bad brands, or cheap brands, so to speak, Westinghouse comes to mind. I've heard of a lot of TV failures with them, and Spectre. And the reason why I'm saying Spectre is a in-house Walmart brand, and Westinghouse, I believe, is in-house Target. But when it comes to Spectre specifically, my family has 3 Spectre TVs in their home. One of them, after less than a year of use, started kind of crapping out, like the screen was flickering, it was going black, it was having a bunch of issues. And when my dad tried to call up Walmart with it, they said go through Spectre. When he called up Spectre, guess what? He didn't talk to anyone. He had to leave a voicemail message on an answering machine for this company. And of course, they never got back to him. Now, I told him, don't go with Spectre TVs anymore, and he was telling me, you know, we haven't had an issue before. And my logic is this. And I told him, and I said, Dad, listen, whether you have issues with them or not, I do not trust a company, a big company like that. Like, imagine calling up Samsung. If you call up Samsung, you expect to speak with someone and go through, you know, an automated service, right? No. Calling up Spectre is like calling up some kid on their cell phone. 5 rings, you leave a voicemail message. That's it. I don't trust that if that happens with a company. I really don't. Get whatever makes you happy. Choose what you want to get. Make sure you do your research properly because you don't want to get buyer's remorse, but also make sure you have the money to back up everything as well so you're not flat broke at the end of this. But anyways, I hope this helped you all out. I really hope, you know, this might have brought something new to the table and this might have helped out, you know, maybe 1 or 2 people. And I'm sure there's going to be people that complain, but you know what? It's the internet, so complainers fire away. Anyways, this is Mr. Mario signing off. Thank you for watching, everyone.
Getting sober now. I've been sober, but it's over now.